Hey, I'm Jordan. This is going to be my roundup from November 2024. Played a lot of games in November. I did a lot of holidays, hung out with family, played some games with them. And in the spirit of holidays, we're going to talk about party games because my family, I do play a lot of all types of games with my family, with my in-laws, my wife's family, and my family. And we do play a lot of kind of regular, we play card games, we play some light strategy games, things like that. But ultimately, we do play a fair amount of party games. And so I'm going to talk about those for a bit right here. So let's get into it. This one is probably the least party-esque, if you will, but it definitely has the energy and vibe of a party game. But it does only play up to 4 players, which feels weird for a party game, but I'm gonna include it because it does feel like that. And this is Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slame, and this is a new version of Kabuto Sumo. This one's kickstarted early this year, end of last year kind of deal, I can't remember. It's a follow-up to Kabuto Sumo, which is a coin pusher kind of game. So it has a dexterity element, and so you're going to push these discs onto this wrestling ring, and you're trying to knock off your opponents. And this one also has some wrinkles in there, which I think are really nice, with some new characters, with a 2-player mode that includes this wrestling belt that if you either push off your opponent or the wrestling belt to win. So it's not just like a straight, I push you here, you push me back, I push you here, you push me back. And that is a really nice change. And then the ring in Sakura Slame is square, and it has these stationary permanent pegs in the corners, which you wouldn't think does much, but it really does affect how you're pushing things onto the board, how things are coming off the board, and kind of wedging things in. And I actually really do prefer this board to the original kind of just round, push wherever you want kind of deal. And then with the Kickstarter, I got these upgraded wooden wrestling rings, which are super nice, and the cardboard was also really solid. I'm not dissing the cardboard, but the wooden these wooden boards are super nice. So I think this is a great one. If you're getting into Kabuto Sumo, I would start with this one. I don't see any reason why you'd have to like step up into this one. And I got all of the expansion modules and stuff for Sakura Slame. Everything's in this box. They had a big kind of like coffin chest kind of deal. I didn't get that because my wall space is limited, but everything fits into here. Super nice. It'll be going on this shelf behind me. And now I have to decide if I'm going to keep both. I don't know if I will, but this one is definitely staying. I just have to decide if I'm going to keep original Kabuto Sumo. We'll see. Next one is a little one I'm sure a lot of folks haven't heard of, but I've enjoyed this one. I played it a lot with the kids at my day job. I run a nonprofit, and it's a community-based nonprofit. We do all sorts of different programs. One of our programs is an after-school program. So I do get to play games with kids that aren't my own periodically, and this one has been a hit with those kids. And this is called Banana Boy versus Uni Cone, and it's a little card game, and it is from X First Games. X First Games. Sorry, I thought I had that wrong. And it is a memory style game. It plays a lot of players, I think up to 6 players. And it's a memory style game in which you are flipping over cards to try to find matches, right? But all the cards are double-sided. So as you flip over 2 cards to see if they match, if they are the same picture, you get both of those cards. If they have the same color background, you get one of those cards. And you keep playing until there's a certain number of cards left on the table, and then whoever has the most cards wins. So the scoring is a nice twist to matching, but the way that the game is played, where all the cards being double-sided, if I flip over this banana card and this ice cream cone card, flip them over, but now this one is a hot dog and this one is a spaceship. And so you have to remember, wait, which one was the banana and which one was the ice cream cone? And it really messes with you, because even though the cards are staying in the same spot, they're changing they're changing what the picture is periodically. And so that is really tough, especially when you're playing with a larger group. I might flip these 2 over and you're like, oh, okay, I do remember I'm flipping this one over because it's a banana. There's a banana over here, and now you're just kind of sitting, sweating, hoping until the next player somebody doesn't flip one of those bananas back over, you know. And then there is a variant where if you know one of the cards, you can kind of put your finger on one of them and reserve it until your next turn, which is a nice way to kind of stop that kind of the fear of somebody else taking a card from you. So, yeah, it's a silly game, but it works surprisingly well if you're playing with kids in this like memory matching kind of thing. This is a really nice kind of wrinkle to that. So Banana Boy versus Uni Cone. It is a silly game, but I've enjoyed that one. Another silly game that is a little bit of memory, but definitely has a different vibe to it is That's Not a Hat. This one came out, I believe, last year. It was nominated for the Spiel. I did not know much about this. Somebody gave it to me for my birthday. I've seen it around. Didn't know if I was really interested in it, but somebody bought it for me, so I suddenly became interested because it was in my house. And it is a memory game in which you are just passing cards back and forth to other players and trying to remember what you're giving them. You're passing face down cards saying, would you like a bicycle? And if they think you're giving them a bicycle, they'll say yeah. If they don't think it's a bicycle, they'll say no. And then you flip it over. If it's a bicycle, they get it as a negative point. If it isn't a bicycle, say it was a pen, I would get that as a negative point. And so there's just like, it is kind of brain burnery depending on who you're playing with. Some folks will really try to figure out what goes where, which card traveled where around the table. But honestly, it's just kind of a silly game. I don't think it's supposed to be taken too seriously. But I've had a lot of fun with it. It's also great in mixed age groups where you have kids that don't know anything, you have adults that don't know anything, and suddenly everybody is just, on the same level of strategy, if you will. So that's a fun one. That's Not a Hat. Surprisingly, I really do enjoy that one. Last one. This is a cooperative party game. This was a really unassuming game that I didn't think much of when I got a copy of it, and I've really enjoyed this one. I've taught it to people at my church, I've taught it to family, taught it to some friends, and I think it's just really an interesting game. This is called, oh, my box is shaking. This is Link City from Blue Orange Games, and it's a spatial discussion kind of party game. So somebody's going to have a screen, and you are somebody is going to put out some tiles to start the game, and then you're going to put out some cones. And somebody with a screen is now going to put them out, kind of assign these random tiles out onto the board. And these tiles are all buildings in a city. So let's say out on the board you have a school, you got a baseball park, you have a graveyard, and you have a seashore pier, something like that. And behind you, you have a bakery and a hot dog stand and a florist shop. And so obviously I might want to put the hot dog stand next to the baseball park. I might want to put the florist next to the waterfront pier maybe. I don't know if anything needs to go next to the graveyard yet. And so you're kind of assigning these, and then the other players need to discuss where they think you assigned them. And wherever you link up is going to go out onto the board, and then you're going to score points based off of buildings that end up next to each other. And it doesn't even sound like much of a game. I've taught it to a couple folks, and they just kind of look at you like, that's it. And you're like, yeah, that's it. Let's try it. And it goes over really well. It goes over especially well if you know the people who have, if you're on the same wavelength with them and link up well. But I don't know. This one just is really working for me. I don't know if the look is really helping it. I don't know. It looks kind of mass markety. I would love some expansions with some new tiles, so I'm not seeing the same ones there's enough for like maybe 2 or 3 games worth, but it'd be great. I've played this game enough that I already know what's coming for some of the tiles, so yeah, I enjoy this one. Check this one out if it sounds interesting to you. If not, you probably won't like it, but I do. That is Link City. There you go. That is November. Yeah. I'm Jordan. Thanks.